What's up YouTube, this is Joe from Zephyr War Games, and I'm bringing to you guys the current build that I personally have made ready for DDD in the current format. This is pre-burst of Destiny and Speed Riders, so don't expect to see any Destiny Fusion Engine or the Baroness de Fleur. Those aren't in this particular variant, but those are on the mindset for this deck once those sets drop in the coming week. There's also another tech that I'll also explain within the profile as well, which changes up how you play certain cards in the deck, but it adds very unique consistency. And if you are a fan of our podcast, which I believe does have it mentioned, you probably know what it already is. So before I get into this, if you enjoyed this, give us a like and subscribe down below. Ding that notification bell, because obviously if you enjoy person's content here on YouTube, you don't want to miss on that content, and that notification bell helps prevent that. And all of that is greatly appreciated, and thank you guys so much for doing so. So with all that said and done, let's get into this DDD deck profile. It's been a long time since I've done actual legal DDD. So far it's just all been proxies using new stuff, because I can't wait for that stuff. So to start off with the monsters, pretty much all self-explanatory for this particular build at least. 3 Kepler, it's Kepler. 3 Copernicus, pretty much the substitute for any of your DDD pieces. 3 Lamia for your tuner. 3 Spell Slime for your fusion hands. 3 Necro Slime for your graveyard fusion, and 3 Ragnarok for your extender. Yep, all self-explanatory. You play 3 of all of them. Ragnarok, you can bounce around between 2 and 3 copies. I personally just like 3 copies because he does help you push past through Nibiru. Your board isn't as extravagant, but that's what happens when you do get Nibiru. We do have a card in the deck though that we do help to counter Nibiru. This isn't a budget profile, I do bear that in mind. This is the best way I personally think that you can play DDD. I will give a more budget option for a particular card, which you probably have already guessed what it is. For your hand traps in the deck, we are playing 3 Ash Blossoms, 3 Imperms, and the 1 Veiler. So the reason I've gone for this is because these are the most common hand traps that you will see and you can use. The reason I've gone for 1 Veiler is because personally this is, you can bounce, you could probably play 2 Veiler and 2 Ash. It's probably something I actually might drop down to and might swap around. But this is a ratio I'm currently testing out. The reason I have actually put Veiler in the deck, I didn't actually have it before, but I had a 40th slot I wanted to put in. I thought I'll put Veiler in. Because there's another level 1 tuner that you can summon off a 1-for-1 if you need to in your combos, if your hand did brick like that, or to summon off your Halcyon Firebrax if you banished everything, if you play like a Desires as well. So it's the ratio I've gone for. It's also searchable off Wear Off Thou if you just have it there. So it's another 3 negator there. The reason I've gone for this is because we are playing, put this all together, we are playing Cross Out Designator. This deck just hates hand traps that much, so I wanted to have like the next best answer to them, or probably the best answer to them, and that's Cross Out. All I care about is stopping those hand traps. If I stop those hand traps, I can then play. And then after I can play, I'm establishing a board which has 2 to 3 negates on board and like 3 pops. And if your opponent breaks through that, they deserve the win, in my personal opinion. So all I need to do is just stop those hand traps. Stopping my Kepler search or my gate search, etc, etc. My Hulk summon, etc, etc. Cross Out Designator does this. Why aren't I playing Nibiru? you're rarely going to see a main deck Nibiru in the game. Nibiru is mostly for a sideboard, unless you're up against something like Madolche or primary go second decks where they could probably main deck Nibiru. You're not going to see those in the main deck. So I have Nibiru in my side deck, and then going to games 2 and 3, that's when I'll put the Nibiru in. If I know I'm going to go first, I can then just put the Nibiru in for the crossout Designator. That's what I've gone for. If you can't get crossout Designators, for the next budget option is Triple Tactics Talents. You then play just 3 of that, 2 to 3 of Triple Tactics Talents. They won't stop the hand trap, but it will let you either draw 2 to help you push through, or look at your opponent's hand. If you have enough combo pieces in your hand already, you can look at your opponent's hand and snag the other hand trap that they have in there. So that's the next best option for your budget players out there instead of crossout Designator. I do play the obviously 1 cool Monograph because we only have it at 1. And then for your contracts, we play the 3 gates. Well, I say for your consistency cards, your searches, you have your 3 gates, your 1 for 1, your Where Art Thou, and your draw power is Desires. The last 2 cards in the main deck are the obvious Swamp King and the 1 Instant Fusion. This is another copy of things like Cool Valley Grave and Crossout Designator, because it gives you a Millennium Restrict, which then is a hand trap killer in its own right, but also being a level 1 for board for things like Where Art Thou to search through your deck. As you can see, I'm not playing Allure of Darkness, because I feel like personally things like Cool Crossout Designator are a bit more important. Desires get digs through your deck a little bit better, and the fact I don't have to have a valid target to banish in hand for something like Allure of Darkness does help boost the consistency just a little bit, but in the consistency in terms of your hand doesn't have to get demolished if your Allure of Darkness didn't hit. That's it for the main deck. Moving on to extra deck, we are playing 2 copies of Genghis, 1 big Genghis, and the 1 Millennium Restrict for the fusions. These are just all important. These are important. This is if you're playing instant fusion, then this becomes important. This either helps protect your boards going first, or can help break an opponent's board going second. Because either the instant fusion itself is going to get baited for a negate, or you get your restrict out and now your opponent has to think twice when to negate you, or has a double negate ready because the Millennium is going to negate the first negate. Moving on to synchros, we have Formula Synchron, Gusking Alexander, Siegfried, Crystal Ring, Savage Dragon, Shen Shen, and Satellite Warrior. These are all very strong. These are all just what you possibly either are already playing or are valid targets to be playing for your Crystron, play. To Synchro Climb, for your Spell and Trap negate, your Monster negate, your Omni negate, and Shen Shen is for those times where you have a weird hand and you just need to get another disruptor on board, and so you can use your High Flame King Genghis with a Lamia to make a Shen Shen, and if your opponent is graveyard reliant, the Shen Shen by itself can really ruin their day. I'm only playing 1 X Seasons deck, is just because it's Kali Yuga. I had a 15th slot spare in the extra deck because I was proxying a Destroy Phoenix Enforcer to get a somewhat build ready for the next set, and that's what the Kali Yuga was. So to replace Snap, Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, I just put Kali Yuga back in for a just board clear negate and back row hate already in the extra deck. For my 3 links, I'm playing the 1 Bowl Sword Dragon for the OTKs, 1 Christian Haki Fibrax for your combos, as well as Cross Sheep. Love the Prismatic Secret on Cross Sheep. Love Rarity bumping this deck. This deck is just so much fun to Rarity bump. So that's it for my links. I don't play the Gilgamesh personally. I feel like in the combos I personally do, I don't need Gilgamesh. I feel like Gilgamesh is just overextending for no particular reason. Though once we get the new set, the next set, the Battle of Chaos set with the new support, Gilgamesh 100% 2 of in the extra deck, just because you can play DD a lot more pure that way. and it does really help get you an additional disruptor in the forms of the new exceeds. The Marketer. But that, guys, is the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below. What you play in your DDD deck? How do you play your DDD deck? Are you more of a King Calamity person, or are you a Satellite Warrior person? In terms of the brand new sets, for what I'll be putting in, taking out, I will be taking Satellite Warrior out, or Shen Shen out, or Savage Dragon. One of those three out for the new Baroness de Fleur. If I can get a hold of her, she's not too expensive. 100%. And Destroy Phoenix Enforcer will be going in this deck just because it gives you, along with Verte Anaconda, just because it really does give you a nice recovery play, or a nice cherry on top at the end of your combos, thanks to Destiny Fusion, things like that. Gives you an additional disruptor, gives you a bit more consistency in terms of the 2 fusion materials being a graveyard as well. This gives you a lot more versatility in the deck with the D Hero engine, so I expect that probably once the set drops, once I can get my hands on them. But this is what I'm currently playing for DDD. This is what I'll be currently be testing, and so on and so forth. Cross-out Designator or Triple Tactic Talents depends on your personal opinion and what you personally have as a budget. I'm going back and forth for them at the moment. Cross-out 100%, just because those hand traps need to be stopped, because they hurt too much. That is, again, it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, as always, stay safe and happy dueling.